Hey there guys, I'm back to another video. Today I want to talk about something that I probably should have talked about a long time ago, but I'm going to be talking about it today because it's better late than never. The Sonic the Hedgehog 3D Games Collection. So pretty much this video I'm going to be breaking it down. The original story, it was a rumor, and then the rumored games that were attached to that rumor, and then the list of potential games within this 3D collection, and then games that I think should be on the collection myself, and games that I think shouldn't be on the collection. So first up, the story broke late February, February 29th, 30th, something like that. It leaked on 4chan. It was spreading around the news that there was going to be a Sonic 3D game collection announced. And it was going to be a 30th anniversary collection, which kind of made sense. And I was like, oh, okay, this sounds pretty exciting. All we got was this really rough 3D render. And if you know the Sonic community on Twitter, there are a lot of people that can make these really nice 3D renders and make them look like legit renders and make them really good. You've probably seen them in other people's thumbnails for Sonic Let's Plays and things like that. But the rumored set of games that were for this collection were Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, Sonic Unleashed, Sonic Colors, Sonic Heroes, and Sonic 06. So those were the main games that were attached to this rumor, which were very interesting. I think SA 1 and 2 are very very appropriate because I think those games, when you associate Sonic with 3D, this was his first transition into that realm, and those two games are still recognized as some of people's favorites 3D Sonic games, which is fair, because people have a lot of nostalgia for the games and this and that. So I think it does make sense to include those games in there. Sonic Unleashed, despite me being a big fan of Sonic Unleashed, I think that game's a little iffy to put in there, but okay. Sonic Colors, that is definitely one of the better 3D boost formula games, and I think that game is awesome to include. Sonic Heroes, I honestly cannot have a objective opinion on this game because this was my first ever Sonic game, and I am going to say that this game is really fun and really good, and including it in the collection is very appropriate just because I think a lot of people either underrate Sonic Heroes a little bit, or I think that Sonic Heroes deserves more credit than it gets in some regards, because I think that this game, for what it does, gameplay-wise, it is a little lazy. The fact that, it's literally the same gameplay style, but different ways of how it's gone with Team Sonic, Team Dark. Team Sonic's the average mode, Team Dark's the hard mode, Team Chaotix is the mission-based mode, Team Rose is the super easy mode sort of thing. I think that game, gameplay-wise, I think that the criticism that people throw at it there is definitely warranted, but I think the story that the game tells is definitely very interesting. The fact that it all connects and collides with one another is very interesting. Sonic 06, very interesting pick. I will say that for this rumored sort of set of games, just because that game is very controversial within the Sonic community, just because people know that game was rushed out. It was really poorly done when it was released, and the story itself, this was pretty much supposed to be Sonic Adventure 3, but the way that the game was handled and executed, it definitely doesn't feel like that. And the story that the game was telling was very ambitious, I will say that. I really liked the character Mephiles. The concept of him was very cool, but the way that it was all handled was obviously not all that good. I think Silver the Hedgehog, I think that his story was very, very poorly handled, and I think that Sega should give him another chance as a character, because I think that a hedgehog from the future that came back to the past to stop what is about to happen from making his future happen is very interesting, but time travel is involved, and that can get very interesting and very convoluted very quickly. But I really do think that Silver is a really cool hedgehog to make another potential spin-off game around him. I think that would be super dope, but this is Silver we're talking about here, and the regular Sonic story, it's whatever to me. But yeah, those were the rumored set of games, which is very interesting. And, there are other potential games that were not listed on here, obviously, such as Sonic Generations. I think that game should definitely be included on a 3D games collection such as this one, and Sonic Lost World. Some people can make the argument that it shouldn't be on there because it's super different from the other 3D Sonic games. Personally, as a person that has played that game very little, not a lot, I will admit, I played maybe the first couple of levels, maybe first hour or two maybe. That game is definitely very weird and very interesting, because the levels are like Super Mario Galaxy, but you're playing a Sonic game on top of it, which is very weird. But my opinion on that game is that, yeah, it is a little weird, but I think that if you were to make a 3D Sonic games collection, I think that considering it on there is a possibility, and I think it maybe should be on there. And then the last set of games that weren't even rumored or anyone really included on here were the Sonic Storybook games, aka Sonic and the Secret Rings and Sonic and the Black Knight. I think that those games should definitely stay on the Wii. I think that those games should not be included in any games collection whatsoever, just because those games were literally made for the Wii, and trying to port those games over onto like a newer generation of consoles or anything like that would definitely get very complicated and very more expensive than it probably should be. So I think that those games, love them or hate them, I think that they should just stay on the Wii. I am personally a big fan of Sonic and the Black Knight, just because I like the gameplay style that game presented. But I think that, trying to switch the gameplay from a Wiimote nunchuck style over to like a Xbox One or PS4 controller kind of game is going to be very awkward and probably really hard, or not really hard, but it's gonna cost money to reformat the game and this and that. And I think that keeping those games on the Wii is a fine idea. So, and I'm not even sure if there are like legal problems with that to because they are Wii exclusives, and I'm not sure if Nintendo had any involvement with those games. I doubt they did, but moving on. So yeah, those are all of the games that could potentially be on this collection sort of thing. SA1 and 2, Sonic Unleashed, Colors, Heroes, 06, Generations, and Lost World. So what are the games that I would like to see on this collection myself? Just because, this was a rumored sort of project, and obviously it got debunked very quickly by the original artist. Like I said earlier, there are a lot of people on Twitter that really can make really nice 3D renders, and the artist did come out and was like, yeah, I made this, and yeah. Well, he didn't say I made it, but he did a WIP, work in progress tweet, and they got a lot of retweets, a lot of likes. So yeah, it was definitely him, but it was definitely a super good mock-up, and the screenshots that he put in his little thing up top, it includes Sonic Generations, Sonic Lost World, SA1 and SA2. So just by that, I think that Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 should 100% be included in a Sonic 3D game collection sort of compilation sort of game. I think just because in my opinion, those games have obviously not aged all that well, but they are extremely important to Sonic's 3D legacy. I think that they should just be included. So Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, make them like the PC versions of them, and then just put them on the PS4, PS, or PS5, or whatever platform. Just make them the newer ports of the game that you recently created. So Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, I think that those should definitely be included. Sonic Generations, I think that game is a must when it comes to this collection, just because that game, when it comes to the boost formula, I think people consider that one to be the very best, just because you go through a lot of the levels from the past Sonic games, and then on top of that, the classic Sonic levels in that game are honestly not that bad. They control really, really well, and I don't see anything wrong with them. And I think when it comes to more modern Sonic games, people really accept Sonic Generations as a really good Sonic game. My only real complaint with the game is that it was kind of short, not gonna lie. I kind of blazed through the game when it first came out. I was like, wow, I'm already done with it. But yeah, Sonic Generations is definitely a Sonic game that should be included in a 3D Sonic games collection. Going backwards, Sonic Colors, if it is possible, I think that this game would be perfect for a 3D Sonic games collection, just because this was a step towards the right direction right before we got to Generations. Sonic Colors was that little stepping stone after Unleashed, being okay, we know what was good in Unleashed, which was the boost or the daytime stages. So they were all right, well, let's make a game just the daytime stages. And then they also included the Wisp, which they have been trying to make those the Mario power-up equivalent to the Sonic series, which I think they should drop entirely, in my opinion. But the Wisp were a great addition for this game just because it also helped out with the story and made the story or like, you know, the Wisp connected to the story itself, which made sense. So I think that having the Wisp included in the game's gameplay was also a, you know, sort of like makes sense sort of thing. So yeah, Sonic Colors should also be included in this game's collection in my opinion as well. Going backwards again, Sonic Heroes. If it were to be a collection of games that I think should be included, which is what we are doing right now, Sonic Heroes would 100% be included. Say what you will about the gameplay and say what you will about the story, this and that. I think that I just have too much nostalgia for the e-game to really like criticize this game fairly, but Sonic Heroes is definitely one of the OG Sonic games and definitely brought a lot of people into the Sonic universe, such as myself. And I think that Sonic Heroes not being included on a collection like this, I think a lot of people would definitely be outcrying that why is Sonic Heroes not on here? But, you know, all of these other Sonic games are on here when it comes to a 3D games collection. So that's just my opinion. Sonic 06, I think that game should stay off of the collection just because if it were to be added onto the collection, I think that there would be a huge discussion as to whether or not the game should be updated or, you know, like fixed or like, you know, make like a brand new Sonic 06 sort of game, you know, and at that point they should just release the game separately, because I think releasing Sonic 06 as it was when it launched onto a new games collection would be a little weird, because the game was rushed out, it was not polished, there's so many glitches within Sonic 06 that make that game what it is. I think that it should just stay as a, you know, Xbox 360 PS3 sort of game in that generation and just stay like that. And I think porting it into a new games collection I think is not the right move in my opinion. But you know what, a lot of people do want this game on this sort of Sonic 3D game collection, but in my opinion I think it should stay off of it. But it is what it is, you know. This is just a sort of like hypothetical situation sort of video. Sonic Unleashed, I know that this game has a lot of controversial opinions, especially when it initially came out, because it was about the daytime stages and the nighttime stages. And I recently replayed some of the game. I haven't replayed all of the game, but I can understand those criticisms now. When I initially played Sonic Unleashed when I was younger, I love that game. Like, that game is still one of my favorite Sonic games of all time, just because I had so much fun with it when it came out, you know, playing the Werehog stages. No matter how long those Werehog stages were, I was still having a great time as a kid. Recently, I replayed some of the Werehog stages, and I was like, holy shit, I'm still going? Like, oh my god, like, this level is that long? Like, this is insane. But yeah, Sonic Unleashed, I think that it should be considered for the collection, but I think putting it on there is not 100% guarantee. So it's sort of within that Sonic Lost World sort of sphere, where it's like there are good parts of that game, like definitely, unlike Lost World. I think Lost World, a lot more people are either, yeah, I think I like it, or yeah, I really don't like it. I think Unleashed has people where they're like in the middle, like myself now. I think Unleashed is definitely a game where it's like, yeah, the daytime stages are like guaranteed like 100% good. Some of the Werehog stages are kind of bad because they're really long and really tedious, but I still really like that gameplay style of just like beat 'em ups and, you know, doing combos and this and that, you know, like with the quick time events. I still really like Unleashed for that aspect, but as a much more, I guess, matured adult now, you know, compared to when I was younger, I think Unleashed has definitely, I've definitely seen the flaws with that game now. So I'm not going to put it in my personal games collection, but yeah, I think that having these, what is it? How many games I put on this collection? These 5 set of games here: Sonic Adventure 1, Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic Heroes, Sonic Colors, and Sonic Generations. I think that is like the perfect 5 games collection that I don't think anyone could really like debate are like bad games. I mean, like, you know, Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, they have not aged well at all, but they are the games that got Sonic in the 3D world. And on top of that, they are definitely the most popular 3D Sonic games to date. I think that when it comes to video game players, I'm not going to say gamers. So when it comes to video game players that are adults and they talk about 3D Sonic, they've probably played Sonic Adventure 1 or 2. or even both, you know? So I think that including those games, you know, despite them not aging all that well, they are definitely good games in other people's eyes. Sonic Heroes, you know, that's just a nostalgia game for me. But Sonic Colors and Sonic Generations, I think if you've played those games, you know that those games are really, really good. So, what do you guys think about my own personal Sonic 3D games collection? This is obviously a huge hypothetical video where I was just talking about the original story and then breaking it down. And now these are the games that I think would be perfect for a 3D Sonic games collection. What are some of the games that you would like to see in a 3D Sonic games collection? Be sure to leave them in the comment section below. I read all my comments. So if you guys like the video, be sure to give it a like. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you guys haven't already, you can subscribe and put new videos up on Saturdays. If you guys want to follow me on social media, Facebook and Twitter, you can do that as well. I have my own podcast, the Travis and Damien podcast, where we talk about gaming stuff, sometimes Marvel movies, sometimes anime, this and that. Just check out the podcast. We do it every other week. It's usually an hour or less long, depending on the week. But yeah, thank you guys for watching this video once again, and we will see you guys next time with more videos. Game on, gamers.